Okay, cool.
Okay.
Gathered throng, precious PAX Australia Online. It is I, your internet friend, Jeffrey Horkrims. I am joined by Chris Straub, and collectively, we have, it has been our great pleasure and our great honor to perform these Q&A experiences in your land. And we miss it very, very much. This is the digital spin-off product, Penny Arcade Q&A 2, Yeah, Nah, Nah, Yeah.
What does that detail the types of questions? Will they just be yes, no?
You know what? It could
Or
be
no,
themed.
yes?
We would have to talk to Laura Fromwork on this, but I did learn this turn of phrase from Australians, and I have an unlimited amount of enjoyment. Also, very recently, I went online to discuss the halal snack pack,
Yes.
and many of my country persons were not familiar with it, nor were they familiar with some of the other terms for it. For example, the term for it in Adelaide, which is unpleasant and unappetizing,
Oh, no.
but not necessarily inaccurate, I guess. In any case, I long very much to plunge a fork down through besauced meats, down into the fry strata, and introduce the entire agglomeration to my waiting craw. Let's jump in. The last one in the series, really, from Oceans 23, asks, if you were doing your own take on a heist movie, what would they try to steal? And what would be the goofy caveat or barrier?
This is a particular question that can be answered in a silly off the top of the head way, or
Yes.
can detail an interaction that you and I had before we knew each other, and when I was very scared of you as a person, as a
Me?
entity.
I'm
Well,
a
sure.
moist grub.
Actually, at the time, well, this was you described it to me at the time. I think what it was. This was when you were on a fact-finding mission about me, where like I had appeared in your HUD at some point, and the way, I don't know if it was a positive or a negative, but you told me that you trawled like a website I had, like an open folder, and inside of there, which I was sharing with the world,
Yes, of
was
course.
a screenplay I had written as a goof in college.
Yeah.
But that story was very much, I think this story's been done by now, but it was hitmen all converging to kill the same contract person, but none of them, at the end, two of them realized that this person had like basically written bad checks all over town, and to kill him would be the undoing of the hitman economy, that it would just collapse, that they would follow. It's like, all right, well, this one's satisfied. Oh, nobody's getting any money ever. So they were then trying to defend him.
This is like an Agatha Christie twistiness, plus like action movie bombast. What a delight.
Yeah, but that's what came to mind immediately. I don't want to just steal a big diamond or whatever. Come on.
Okay, yeah. But no, there was other stuff. I found a bunch of like old music that you had done.
Mm-hmm.
It was
that
a
would have
delight.
been around the time I was trying to learn to play guitar. I was trying to learn how to play the Morrowind theme.
Oh yeah. For me, I mean, I have often thought about it. In fact, we wrote an adventure sort of for the Neverwinter MMO.
Yeah.
And it had some. I mean, I think that D&D plus heist is just, it's unbeatable. I mean, because all the dynamics that you want and enjoy from a heist movie, like the crew aspect, that's the fundamental unit of a Dungeons and Dragons experience.
Yeah.
Right. They're all heist movies.
A ragtag ensemble.
Yeah, you're always trying to find somebody's shit. I mean, that's the whole thing. And so, but if you go in and then bring the heisty tropes in, all the rest of them, like the magically sealed vaults and this type of stuff. And it's like for the first season when we did the acquisitions incorporated the C team, there's a creature that is itself a vault, and that was it's a vault that travels around and is itself an organism. And so it's just like, but all I was trying to do is get a hold of heist movie stuff and then tuck it into bed alongside the D&D tropes.
I thought you were going to say a creature that is itself a heist.
It's the physical manifestation of heists.
It's zany.
It's the Avatar.
It's just the scenes where they're planning it. That's all the creature is capable of.
I could watch them. I could watch an hour and a half. The heist montage. I could watch an hour and a half of just the heist montage. Yeah. And then they fail. They've planned for an hour and a half, and then as soon as they get in,
you don't want them to be like, that worked. That was great. Thank you. See ya. We didn't have to deal with anything. We thought of it all.
Yeah, we crushed absolutely every aspect of it. Malvidian from in front and a little to the left of you asks, what band group is your current obsession?
Great question. Mine are disinteresting, I think, because they're current and constant. I just come back to the same three over and over again.
Oh, really?
Oh, although one of them that's in the rotation right now, you recently discovered was Tally Hall.
Yeah, I didn't
brought up recently.
Well, no, my eldest played me the song, "Ruler of Everything."
Yeah,
and that's a timeless song. I mean, that sounds like it's got Beatles shit with this organ, and then it has a bunch of really bizarre modern like vocal syncopation. A bunch of time changes, like a metaphysical concept. Like it is always the right time to listen to Tally Hall's "Ruler of Everything" for the first time. Why not now?
Some of you out there will.
That's right. So what are the other ones that are in the constant rotation?
Oh, I'm looking right now. Currently, like I'm real big on let's see, Interpol is a constant favorite. I like Tennis. I don't think we've talked about them. Can you imagine a husband and wife couple that wrote their first album together on their boat? And it's just seafaring, just a sort of a reverb infused. It's very good. They're very good. I enjoy Tennis.
They recorded it on the boat?
I think they wrote it and worked on it on the boat. And then when they came back, they just took, like, I don't know how long they were. And a lot of the songs are about trouble that they ran into, not being like accomplished boat people.
It's a historical document.
Yeah.
But yeah, for me, the one that's sort of constantly running right now is Sleep Token. So I think I have
not even a bit. I'm gonna have to look it up.
Well, here, hang on a second. I think I have the record here. One second.
Okay. I'll vamp. I'm waiting for Sleep Token to emerge. Then I'll know what Jerry's talking about. Although I did look up on the website and I see a cool mask. What's going on? That's scary.
Yes. It's incredibly scary.
Multiple scares.
Here, keep going. Keep vamping.
No, it's like Slipknot but cool. That's the vibe I get from the visual.
I was just gonna say. So this is the type of stuff. This is like the front of the. You piece of shit.
Oh no, it won't show me.
Well, it won't. I mean, but honestly, that's on brand.
That works. Hold on.
Crazy symbols. Here we go.
I saw a symbol for a moment. There she is. Right that angle.
So this is a symbol. Would it please you, Chris, to learn that symbol was itself surrounded by other symbols?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Look, I went right in. The bigger res I could find, I'm in there. They're good symbols.
Yes. Yeah. I knew that you would like. I knew you feel they had the sufficient technical execution. So it's similar to Ghost. Ghost has sort of like a campy Satanism.
Mm-hmm.
This is some of that idea about this where you're trying to figure out which parts of it are real, I guess. I mean, obviously none of it, but this is a little bit more dark in tone and not as silly, but it's executed to a very, very high degree. Like the
wow,
the vocal melodies and performances alongside like really interesting timings. Oh man, it's just
the singer's name is Vessel. It's gross. That's amazing.
it's just like that's all you want to do. You don't want to stop pretending. You always have to stop pretending. And it's just apparent at some point he's just like, you know what? What if cult? What if music but cult? Jonathan Frakes from a series of popular memetic clip videos asks, as the director of the inexplicably puppet-free film adaptation of the Thunderbirds.
Was it really?
That is interesting.
I can't call it forward in my mind, but what would be the point of it?
Why would you even do that?
Yeah, I don't know.
I am curious for each of you to answer the following hypothetical. You can adapt any classic property into a film starring the Muppets, with the one main character played by a human actor, as they did with Treasure Island and A Christmas Carol. What is the property? Who is your human and what roles are everyone playing?
It's not a classic property, but the thing that jumped to mind was The Lighthouse.
So it's all black and white, but with puppets?
There's not a lot of characters in that movie. But who would be the other character? I thought Rolf?
Yeah,
Rolf
why not?
The other is the Willem Dafoe character?
or Sweetums. You just have like the regular person, and then you have the nautical version of Sweetums.
That's it. And you can have a lot of fun with the albatrosses and the birds flying around, and those are like like Pepe the Shrimp and all that. Like just having little goofs in the interim to keep it light.
Gosh. What is the one that I would do? I mean, I think that there is room. I think that you just still have John Hurt, but you do 1984.
Oh, and very good choice.
And you play up. You just take it a little bit too. You just take it a little bit too far.
I'm gonna throw this at you, and you tell me. You can just leave it on the table if you want. Pig Brother. That's it. That's all.
Yeah, I mean that's classic. That's the angle, to be sure. Now, Crisp, here is a question for you to savor.
Oh no! Wait a minute. Is this my? Okay, here we go. Redacted from Redacted asks, I recently had a cold, for which I took a popular over-the-counter medicine. Classic error. Unfortunately, it did not fix the cold, and I briefly traveled mentally to what I think was hell. It is the most exciting thing that has happened to me in months, but it is also unpleasant and difficult to describe. How do I translate this awful experience into relatable anecdotes?
Well, I mean, I think that you have already done that, so good job.
Yeah, I mean, the only issue with this anecdote is that I think each of us has our own vision of what hell is.
Yes.
So are they trying to convey a specific hell? The one that they experienced? I don't know.
Well, and it may simply be that it was so terrible that it was synonymous with hell or a hell-like state.
Yeah, it might have been just actual hell.
Yeah, much the same thing. I have had this happen before. When I get sufficiently, like if I get like a sinus thing and I take Sudafed or something like that, the thinking that it will make life better, it does not. And what happens is that I have to go to the bathroom like every 4 minutes. And then the rest of the time I spend either getting into or out of bed very slowly. And then any thought process that occurs is always the assembly. I talked to you about this before. It's always the assembly of these wooden puzzles. I don't know what the fuck. I don't know what is going on
I
that
don't know.
the irreducible unit of my anxiety is the manufacture of these geometric shapes out of an assemblage of wood chunks.
I don't know why it's wood. Like I've had the same, but for various materials, for any taste.
Nice.
But
And
one
any
of them,
budget.
yeah, apparently when I get zapped on cold medication, it's a similar, or when I'm delirious if I have a fever, which I haven't had
Yes.
since I was a kid, but it's always about like a progression of some complex process that doesn't end at any point.
No,
I always think
there's-
we're going to get there and then it doesn't end.
No, this is actually making me exhausted.
Yeah, one I remember was, in The Thing, John Carpenter's The Thing.
Yes.
When those dogs are getting taken over.
Yeah.
And we spend a little time with like, ching, this thing opens up and then there's a weird things coming out and the dogs are scared and this thing. My delirious vision was just that, but there was no resolve. It was just
it just never stopped,
and then this unfolds, and then this happens, and there was no point to any of it. It's just constant, and it's just how you can't get a good night's sleep with that.
That's one of the worst things I've ever heard. Just this constantly like genetic origami folding and refolding of wet parts.
And each one would, and like in the movie, like there was a reveal of like, the purpose. This is where we're heading. No, that's not it, because that has to change.
God, I need a second.
It's not great.
Oh, my gentle Jesus. Well, I hate that. And I don't, and I feel bad for this person. I think that this medicine is the bad one. I think that medicine does the same thing to me. It's probably better just to feel bad in the normal way. The other, let's see, what was the other thing? I also had. I'm trying to. It's just like I'm still so chilled by the experience. The other thing that happens to me if I have a bad enough fever.
Yeah.
Is my mind starts to parse my heartbeat in different ways.
Yeah. You become very aware of it.
You become hyper aware of the blood and its cadence. Yeah. And so eventually it gets to a point where I literally thought it was an Uruk-hai situation at one point. I thought I was, and I told Brenna this in a matter of fact way. I didn't know that I had a fever. I was just sitting on a chair in the middle of the kitchen, like spaced out. And I just mentioned about the drums, the war drums. And she said, I think you need to go to bed. Anthony from Mael Byrne asks, oh my God, Anthony can't get enough of these platypi. I think that we are being enfolded somehow into Anthony's platypus-related fetishes. I think that's what this is about. I feel like this second one, now we have 2 points that we can use to form a line.
Yeah, it's not. Yeah, it doesn't bode well. Like the data is not going to lead us anywhere else.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like if a platypus did come charging out at me while I was camping, I would just zip up the tent, probably.
Yeah, I don't think. I mean, unless they have another spur on a different limb that I'm not aware of. One to poison and one to tear a hole in a tent. Then you're fine. What does it want with me anyway?
Yeah, listen, we're gonna have to ask Anthony. I mean, I feel confident that it culminates in an erotic.
Yeah, is there a third
venue.
Q&A where we can build to the final?
I want to do a Q&A with Anthony from Melbourne is what I want. And also, I think it's a different situation if it's some kind of a bipedal platypus man.
Yeah, the picture that's not a platypus. That's a different thing.
That changes the math a little bit if they've got a warhammer and some barding. You know what I mean? Like you need to deal with that in a different way. Did you know from Facts About Australia asks, Uluru Ayers Rock is a giant sandstone and is one piece of continuous rock. It is known as an Inselberg or island mountain. Among the 46 species of native mammal living near Uluru, maybe, is the bilby, which I knew about, which is an extremely cute little guy. What do you make of that?
I believe you. I buy it 100%.
Man,
I mean, it was written in a hyperbolic tone. It was presented. I think that you're correct.
Yeah. Now, for my part, I would be okay if Did You Know from Facts About Australia showed up several more times with great content like this. Now, obviously, for the Australians, they know about these creatures. Like, no big surprise to them. But I think that Chris and I would enjoy it a lot.
I do have a question that I don't know when it'll get answered. But to the Australians, I would ask. So we approach this and we're like, wow, that's a cool creature you got. You got these cool marsupials. You got these interesting animals we don't see anywhere else, and these strange in-between forms. Do you Australians think that animals in this continent, in North America, are cool? Are they like, wow, cow, that's awesome. Wow, buffalo, it's tall. It's like a big, tall cow with a hump. That's amazing.
You're like, wow, is that a dog? That's sweet.
Yeah, exactly. Do we get any? Are these interesting at all?
Well, no, I think in some cases they're definitely not interesting, or they're a huge fucking problem, like feral cats.
Oh yeah, well,
it's like none of these creatures. I'm telling you, this thing can't do shit against a cat. Cats have no problem with this guy. That's one swipe.
He's done.
Brosephene from Seattle asks, apart from people you know personally, do you have a favorite poet and or poem? What draws you to them?
Ooh.
Dude.
I have a couple, yes. They're all bummers. But,
what do you got? Oh, yeah, for sure.
I mean, you're never going to have a fun poem, right? What's the point of that?
No, this is a lot of raw content out there.
Yeah. Rainer Maria Rilke, the German poet, and particularly his poem, You Who Never Arrived, is my top line favorite. He's written a lot of good ones, but it's a sad one for sure. He's just reflecting on a person that, the kind of person you hear about that you may meet in your life, but he did not meet them, and he's speaking to them.
Here,
sick.
So there's a bunch of great. They're both by Adrian Rich.
That's one I'm not familiar with.
Let's see. Oh my gosh. I'm trying to find the actual poem.
I don't want to. This is just going to turn into an upset time.
Yeah.
Oh, pretty recently died too. So not like a contemporary.
It's the poem is called Diving into the Wreck. And it is really, really, really good. It's a nice just piece of craft. Oh, no. But Adrian Rich grapples with some pretty heavy some pretty heavy content with just such a deft hand. But I love this, like structurally they're just very, very sound. Beyond Adrian Rich, my favorite poet is probably E.E. Cummings.
Oh, yeah.
I just like how the words are all over the place. I like how it has a fundamental structure, and a lot of times the structures are traditional, but because they're all over the place, you sort of have to read it out loud to understand how traditional it is.
Oh yeah,
that was the first. Yeah,
nice.
That was the first poetry I understood.
Mm-hmm.
I basically had my English teacher. I would stay after class, and I would try to have him help me parse the poems. I was just I would say I was an especially unpleasant 18-year-old. And I thought that I knew a substantially greater proportion of the world than I actually did. And
we do that.
Yeah, but I remember talking to him once. I think I've told the story before, but we had some piece we were supposed to read, and I just didn't understand it. Like I didn't get it. I didn't even know why you would do it this way. And he said, "Can you read?" And I was like, "Yeah." And he's like, "Well, then you should be able to understand these works, but you have to read them in a conscious way." And so that was like, I've never stopped using that skill. God, it was really, really cool. And then I went to my sister's graduation. He was retiring that year, so I had a chance to see him again.
That's cool.
Oh, dark envelope incoming. Now, Laura Fromwork, thank you very much for removing any giant spiders.
Yeah, there should be an apology for any big bug that occurred at some point on a screen. Just worldwide.
Let's do it once and just get it over with, right? There's no reason to be doing this every time. Yeah.
I'm sorry.
If you see a bug, say a bug. That's the poster. Anthony, oh wow.
Oh no. What?
Anthony from Melbourne asks, if you had to choose between a quokka or a platypus, which one would you pick? For what purpose, Anthony? I think it's starting to become clear.
You know what? I choose quokka.
What the? No, don't.
Because on this spectrum, that is the instrument of my hate for Anthony.
Wow. You're taking that weapon up.
I choose the nega platypus. I choose anything that is not a platypus.
I was just going to say, I wanted to warn you. Now, you have an opportunity here to change your mind. There is a correct answer, and you'll be judged accordingly. Does that change any of the math?
I invite his wrath.
Actively.
I want to see that platypus barging into my tent with his warhammer.
Yeah.
That's the only thing that I'll be afraid of.
Late at night. But
I brought it on myself.
But I only have a loose shift on. Oh
no, you've pivoted it into another direction.
Chainsaw Charlie from the abandoned lumber mill outside town. God, I hope that Chainsaw Charlie isn't some phrase that Laura didn't know what has a very specific meaning. I work nights mostly and read during the accursed daylight while waiting for the dumb teens in town to come around.
Okay.
What is the coolest science fact you found out about recently?
Oh no, is this even fair? Because I learned one about a koala foot.
Yeah.
Just in the last one.
Dude, it might have. Listen, but that's honestly, it's topical and it's ready to go. I was trying to learn. I was trying to engage my mind just yesterday. And I read about a theory that all of the electrons in our universe are actually the same fucking electron.
Self-interaction, yes.
I had to do some more reading after that to get my head around the rest of it. It was electrons and positrons just in a kind of
Wouldn't it be
wave.
Neat if it was the same one?
That
was Wheeler and Feynman were
yes.
About that one.
Yes. Yeah. It took, I had to pause the video for a little while and just like look down at the keyboard for a second. It's just like, I mean, I'm not qualified to say if it is or it isn't, but that is interesting.
Yeah, there were some issues with that where they're like, I don't think that's the case. But I mean, that would be super neat if it was the case.
Well, because some electrons have little like a little smiley face on them, and so it's like, oh well.
Some with a hat, like it's like Guess Who? You know that it's not that guy, the bearded one. He left. He's out of here.
Yeah, it's like Charm and Strange. It's like beard and beard electrons, hat electrons.
Like, describe the electron. Point charge, 0 size, bearded,
friendly,
coiffed,
sous chef.
What are they? What are these into?
I don't know.
Another
dark envelope. Yeah, exactly. There's some other particle. Dark envelope incoming.
Okay. Right.
Parc from somewhere around here asks, video games have had a bit of a boom over the course of the pandemic, yes. And now that we're closer to the end of it, do you think there are any trends that have appeared and are likely to stick around, changing the games we play? Well, I think there's a couple interactions broadly that they sort of happened over the pandemic, but I think that they were probably on the way anyway. So if you look at New World, New World is an MMO, but instead of being freemium, like a Genshin thing, where it's free and then there's ways to spend money inside.
Right.
That's going to happen with this eventually as well, but there's no monthly charge, but there is an upfront charge. And I think that if you even tried to, I think that between like Hulu Plus and Disney Plus and HBO Max and Peacock and Netflix.
Yeah. And however many tens of dollars that I'm venting every month that I'm not aware of.
Yeah.
Services as a service.
Yeah, exactly. No, it's subscription payments as a service. That's the next one.
Finally, all of them in one place.
But we have reinvented cable in the dumbest possible configuration. Matters are worse, and so I think that is probably. I think that's one of the things that we'll see. It's like every now and then you'll hear the term, just to differentiate it from freemium, buy to own. And I always like that. Always gets a hold of me. I think that's
why we buy things. I really did.
Yeah,
I'm bummed that they have to be specific about it.
Yeah, that's one of the funnier ones. But in terms of an actual subscription service, I've been surprised at how expert and savvy Game Pass is. I use it mostly on PC, and I think that I'm probably in the minority there. But it has a lot of really solid stuff, and it's curated well. I mean, most of it comes down to like there was always like free games with the services, but they were like ancient, and this is like day and date stuff that I want.
Yeah, I love it.
Even with the subscription, like this is actually for me, this is actually a good entry point, I think, into that catalog.
Yeah, they got more money out of me than they would have ordinarily, because one of the things that was on there was Red Dead 2.
Oh,
which I have, and I hadn't played very much of, so I started to play it. And now it's left the service again after a long stretch. I didn't feel rushed, but it took it away from me because I forgot I have that on PlayStation. So I bought it again. But I wouldn't have and I've enjoyed it, and I wouldn't have thought to do it if it hadn't been presented to me.
Yeah, exactly. Arclite, from a land down undah. Can't you hear the thundah? Says, on a scale of 1 to hot dogs, what are those things in your shoes like?
What are you talking about? Dr. Scholl's inserts?
I'm looking now at my distended paw here.
Listen, I tell you what, this should be known about me. I don't like a foot as a thing. I always felt like it's a mockery of a hand. And I know that a lot had to be done to make it walkable on. I appreciate that, but I don't want to have to confront it. I don't want mine, certainly. If I had like a big suction cup, I would like that a lot better. But they are a part of us.
How do you feel about like a Vibram 5 fingers weird socky shoe toe thing?
I'm infuriated because we had a perfect thing designed to hide the foot.
Yes, this is my feeling as well. We had the real problem. The problem is not that the sole of the foot needs protection. The problem is that the foot itself is a wicked and satanic parody of the hand, and it must be obscured.
It drives me insane. And so that I don't understand the reasoning behind it, but okay, I accept. What I really don't get is where you have a normal shoe, but inexplicably the front has been cut out so you could see the toes. Why did
With
you
the
do?
peep.
Can you imagine? Yes. Can you imagine buying like a pair of pants and it's perfect coverage except that for your
No,
assholes,
I would
right?
say,
Visible.
sir, sir. And then I would just sort of gesture weakly to that unwelcome aperture. And I would say, I need to be made whole on this.
Yeah.
Dan from New Jersey asks, someone asked about a custom PAX themed penny press machine at a previous Q&A. Is this still a possibility in a future PAX? I have nothing but love and affection for penny presses.
I feel like that wouldn't be too tough to swing. You just swap that die out.
Exactly. It's just the
and
press.
It's done. Yeah.
You swap that thing out, and then you have one for each. You have a die for each show.
Yeah.
Right.
That
or
can't
even
cost much to swap this thing out. You cart that machine around.
No, listen. Nothing would bring me more pleasure. I mean, currently it is still, situated in the realm of fantasy, but this is the sort of achievable fantasy that
feels so good.
Yes, yeah. This is
work.
The penny press is within reach.
Yeah. How about a penny? Oh dear, I was going to say, what about a penny press? You put penny in, chunk, comes out nickel.
Hey,
is that okay?
That's a moneymaker. Kachikcha, a Thry Crean from the bar at the Doomgate Inn. Is there any food better than free grubs? I ask you, is there? I mean, obviously not.
I don't know what you could do to a grub to make it palatable. I mean, I feel like it's got the classic food hallmarks already. I don't want to eat a raw grub, but it is like a sausage kind of.
Yeah, it is in some ways.
Maybe you could do something to hide it from me.
Yeah, I think that's key. I think that it's a situation where they're shredded and pressed into cakes.
Take a bite of it, and I want to go, oh, what's this? And they say, it's grubs. And I'd go, really? And that's the game changer for me. I don't want to just chew a grub. I'm not going to dig down. Yeah.
No shit.
It's grubs.
Hayner
from Boston Grub Market.
Yeah, exactly. Grub from Grubtown asks, Hayner from Twilight Town asks, if you could take a one-way trip on a mysterious train to any destination, what would your dream destination be?
Ooh. There's so much mystery. It's sort of like, where do you want to go? But then all of this other stuff makes me think, are we ignoring the train? Like, you could go to Bavaria, whatever your awesome destination is, but you could also take a plane there. I would take the mysterious train to the mysterious train depot. There
we go.
Who's sending these trains?
Yeah, who's sending these mysterious trains? No, there is nothing in the world like traveling by train. It is fucking sweet. I mean, it is so ridiculous and luxurious. It takes for fucking ever compared to the normal modes of transportation. But compared to those modes of transportation, the stress is so much lower. You can read entire books.
Yeah, there's something to be said for that, the extra time you get, the loss of efficiency.
Yes. I think efficiency, like the efficiency fetish makes it seem like the objectively worst experience. But there's a snack car. Chris,
I want to go.
You can get a personal pizza.
Can you stay in the car, the snack car?
Well, I mean, if there's a place to sit, yeah.
Yeah, but overnight. I mean, can I live in? Is there a berth in the? Is it a snack compartment that I can?
No. And your gullet is the berth for the personal pan pizza, and then you need a separate berth for your husk. I mean, you're trying to double dip here. PR rep from Simon's new old-fashioned carbonated peanut butter asks, I have a great new product, and it's completely new and yet also old-fashioned. It's carbonated peanut butter, but there's one problem. It's basically just peanut butter with Rice Krispies in it. How do I sell this product?
This is my first concern that jumps to mind. This is, first of all, it is not carbonated. You've bored holes in it with Rice Krispies. Good for you.
Yeah.
But remove that from the packaging. Number two, do the Rice Krispies survive storage in the peanut butter? Or when I open that up, are they still crisp with a little pocket of air? Or is it just like...
I feel like they would become suffused with oil.
Hang on, Crunch. Simon, what are you doing, buddy?
This is a mush. It's not, Simon. Look, it's not clear to us. This is Shark Tank, essentially. Yeah. Is that why Laura chose this shark picture?
Yeah, that must be it. God, you know, on these levels.
What a delight. No, I feel like you have made a new type of mush that is not as good as regular peanut butter. It has to be at least as good as peanut butter.
It has to be. I was going to say, or you've made a new thing entirely, like Nutella,
yes,
with hazelnuts added to chocolate. So what if this is like a rice enriched peanut butter spread?
Now we're talking.
Just cheaper and better, and it tastes like peanut butter. That's the sunburst. The call out on there is like, tastes like peanut butter.
Yeah, more or less. And then it's cheaper to make because it's stuffed with puffed rice.
Yeah, it's like the cans of pork and beans, and it's just beans, and then there's one little piece of fat on the top, and that's like technically we did.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, pork singular.
Yeah,
there is.
So this is just Rice Krispies in a jar with a peanut resting atop it.
Yeah, exactly. Jauntily.
What a joke.
Oh boy. New Australia facts, Chris. Woohoo! Did you know from Facts About Australia asks, one legend about Uluru tells Uluru, I bet it's Uluru. Tells of two tribes of ancestral spirits who are invited to a feast, but distracted by the beautiful sleepy lizard women. Oh.
Okay.
And did not show up. Fair enough. In response, the angry hosts sang evil into a mud sculpture that came to life as the dingo. There followed a great battle which ended in the deaths of the leaders of both tribes. The earth itself rose up in grief at the bloodshed, becoming Uluru.
The great red rock.
Isn't that cool as shit? It is cool as shit.
I am curious about how these sorts of legends and myths occur, where rather than just, why is this big rock this red? Where did this show up from? And then how did they embroider it? How did they like build upon it where it's like, well, obviously there was a battle, it was red. Could have been one huge guy that died, but that's not the direction they went. Two tribes. Okay. Lizard women? Sure. Is it just about making it fancier and cooler? It's like, it's not cool. It's like two tribes hated each other and they just died on there. No. They were distracted by the sexual resting lizard women.
Well, it probably starts that way. Each person who tells the story, it's like you don't want to hear the old thing. They want to add, they want to add a little something extra. Right?
It's like a fork on GitHub.
Yeah, you can't You can't do it. And then now it's just whatever one was the craziest one, and obviously this one's way cooler than the other one.
It's like, in the nascent tribe and the community you lived in, you're like, you gonna hear the Allura story? Yeah, I'd love to. All right, well, don't talk to Doug because he has a whole bunch of shit that doesn't add up to anything. It's just his personal idea that sucks. It's gross. Yeah,
we don't like it. Listen to this.
Yeah.
But seeing all these beasts reminds me. So as a young person, I was not allowed, Chris, to play Dungeons and Dragons because it was a devil game of the secular world and would ensure that my spirit was sent to hell.
Yes.
Because you learned how to do real spells. They had some weird ideas about maybe what D&D was. You learned to do real spells.
Or maybe what a spell was. Like,
God
you
only
could
knows.
say whatever you want. Is that a spell?
Yes,
Is
basically.
language a spell?
Yeah, I mean, I think we can make a very good case for that. Yeah. But what it reminds me of is that because I couldn't play D&D, I turned instead to the Palladium system and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, which had a sub book called Mutants Down Under.
Ooh, yeah.
And so it incorporated all of these, like, I'd never even seen these words before. It's like pre-internet, right? And I certainly hadn't been to Oz.
Oh, yeah. You'd have to do some research at the library to find out about this rock.
Exactly. But now they've broken, like, you open up this book and it's like, these are all the, it's like everything's poisonous. It's all these crazy things you can add to your mutant version of these creatures. And it's just like, I'm telling you, Australian animals have got some great mods.
Yeah, they got all the good stuff.
Yes. Yeah. If for combat, yeah, it works. Jerry's black shirt from He's Wearing Me Now. Hi, everybody. Thanks for bringing me, man. Really felt left out at Unplugged in 2019. Hope you're having a great show. Black shirt, listen. We're doing our absolute best over here. We're having a great time. We're hanging out with PAX Australia.
What were you wearing at Unplugged in 2019?
Gosh, I don't know.
Was it that 1984 shirt, which is like a slate gray?
Yeah, I was just gonna say. I mean, it's not gonna be too much of a variant. If I wore anything else, it's because somebody gave it to me and told me to wear it. I think it's entirely possible that I had gotten the shirt from our merchandise manager Lydia and wore it for that reason. Skimbleshanks The Railway Cat from the Railway Train asks, have you ever had your talent become eclipsed by some physical trait of yours? For example, I'm an incredible tap dancer, but nobody pays much attention because I have an absolute dump truck back there, a complete peach emoji. I'm double caked up on any afternoon of the week. Really?
Dang.
Even on a Thursday? It's incredible, and I know it. But how do I tell people my feet are down there?
First of all, don't perform with your back to the audience. Second, don't perform on a stage that has a mirror behind you, like a ballet room. You know?
Yeah. You don't want to draw attention. You want to minimize it.
You could do your work wearing a green screen suit.
Yes.
On a green screen, and then the shoes are black, and then you just key that out, and then you don't have to worry about it.
Well, yeah. At this point, it's just a disembodied pair of hands, your face, and you know what you want people to recognize you for. These incredible tapping feet. And that's it.
I don't know what skill. Oh, I have one. I have a very modest story of this. My incredible handsomeness and physical beauty. This was at a time when I hadn't yet figured out how to integrate that into what I want to be, because I didn't want to be that. You don't do anything to get it. So
you don't want to be known for that. It is intimidating. I mean, I'll tell you this.
I hate that for me. I don't want to.
And you've only gotten more handsome. I would say the most frustrating thing about you, and they're manifold, but the most frustrating thing about you is the immaculate hair.
I figured it out.
You've got such volume.
I haven't had a haircut in 2 years because of this pandemic, and I never will again. I'm only going to do
Why would you?
In my own home.
No scissors should touch this.
But it was I had done an animation for a project and done the voices for it, and then met the boss of the boss of the boss who saw it.
Yeah.
And they said, I should have known you did the voices. I should have known you were an actor from the hair. And I was like, no, that's not what I want to be. I did the animation. Like, what about all the other work? It wasn't about the fun of the voice or or the attractiveness, I'm just gonna just cut my face off. That's what I'm gonna do. I think it's gonna expose the true artist within if I just get rid of this.
Yeah, I think that for me, I mean, this is just not how it works. I think if a person looks at me, their hope for me is that I generally work someplace where I can't be seen. And that's essentially true. That's what they want. That's the best outcome they can see. They're like, God, I hope people don't have to look at that a lot.
I always said the best kind of fame you could have is as an author, because then you go to this show, they know who you are, they love it, you get all that praise. Then you go to the supermarket, nobody gives a shit.
Yeah, then you go to Schlotsky's, get that sausage sandy.
Nobody's bugging you.
Nope. Malvidian from California asks, Chris, why do you hate drawing noses? Did a nose wrong you when you were growing up?
Look at my nose and ask me that question again. This is a huge nose. Of course, I was trying to minimize that. No, I don't know actually what the answer to that is. I just like it. I think it's a cute face without the nose. I just never learned how to draw a nose.
That's what it comes down to.
It's just it's the sort of thing where it's like, how long do you work on, with a failing of yours, and then it becomes a style, and it's your affect, and you just don't have to think about it again.
And you were hoping that the no nose face is yours?
It would just become just like a hallmark, like a director's trademark. Nobody says, Quentin Tarantino, why do you have a foot in every movie? Well, actually, I say that, but everybody else is like, that's a cool trademark. I don't think it is, though, at all. I undid my own argument. I'll try. I'll draw a nose.
I just try it once and just see if you like it.
I'll see what I think.
Doris from Corvallis asks, in the old days, we used the euphemistic phrase friend of Dorothy to refer to non-straight folk. If someone self-identified as a friend of Cathris or a friend of Omen, what would you think this meant about their identity?
In order, pervert, thief.
Yeah.
No question.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like friend of Omen is an insult. I feel like if you were to use this term, you are indicating that this person is not trustworthy, and that you should not have any persistent dealings with them.
Yeah, my genuine curiosity is, given that this is the old days and that it's a euphemistic phrase about non-straight folk, I'm going to assume that it was also negative. So the question is, who is Dorothy? What is the story behind that person? What is Dorothy?
I always thought that it was secretive in nature.
Oh, I see. So it's more like in the know.
It's shibboleth, code phrase.
Okay.
But, you know what? I could be wrong, though.
So who's Dorothy?
I could be wrong. No, it's considered gay slang. So
okay, so then it would potentially was then a nod. It's like, this is cool, don't worry.
Yes. Now, obviously not an expert in it, but I'm going to spend a lot of time today doing the rest of the research. But yes, friend of Omen is not a compliment.
No. That's one that's rough. I don't know what I think friend of Cathris may be literal, like an actual.
Yeah,
that's the friend they know.
That's what makes it unique to Cathris, is that it's
and all that entails. It's all there.
Factual.
Yeah.
Oh, Dark Envelope incoming. I think this might be our last one, Grasp.
Okay, I'm ready.
Jeff Raven from In a Classroom Somewhere asks, Dear Jerry, we are aware of your proclivities towards strange edibles. I'm talking about jerky. What is the strangest meat you have internalized? I was probably the most novel. Certainly I've had crocodile.
Human.
Yes, the most dangerous jerky. No, I was given kangaroo jerky.
Whoa.
That was a very common jerky as a gift at PAX Aus was very common.
Oh, that's the dream.
And man, I'm here to tell you, when you clamp down on a kangaroo jerky, That's a hard pull. That's like trying to bite off a piece of hemp rope. You're gonna be there chewing on the end of that for a minute.
So, but the positive experience though, like
look, there's no. I mean, I felt like it was like fighting me inside my mouth to eat it. So I think it was probably very much like meeting a kangaroo in any other context.
But having the upper hand.
That's exactly it. Finally, the tables have turned. Thank you so much, PAX Australia. We obviously welcomed you to PAX Q&A 2, and now we bid you adieu. Thanks so much for rolling through. See you soon.